Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this week we have Lead Angle. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Saibu Kaihatsu, Lead Angle originally released to arcades in 1988. Internationally, it was known as Dead Angle. Now jumped to September of 2024, and it's available for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch as part of the Arcade Archives. This title is very similar to a light gun shooter, but it doesn't require a light gun, so you can move your cursor around and fire at the enemies. If you like those kind of games, then I recommend you check out this game, as it's been fun, but keep in mind it's very arcadey in its difficulty, so it'll eat through a lot of your quarters. Virtual quarters, of course. It is a follow-up from Saibu Kaihatsu's previous title of Empire City 1931, which came out 2 years previous. Finding ourselves at the Arcade Archive's main menu. So, as always, for an Arcade Archive title, we have the high score mode, which is set a highest score as possible in one continue, and caravan mode, as high a score as possible in a limited period of time, and then we have the different versions. So you have the international version, Dead Angle, and the Japanese version, Lead Angle. Overall, Lead Angle is the easier title, and it does have some UI elements that I prefer over the international version, so that's the one that we'll be showing off today. Diving into the gameplay itself, we have our controls, and then the emulation begins. So putting machines into the credit, you can see that the game does support 1 or 2 player. However, it is 2 player alternating, not simultaneous. The game starts in Napoli, Italy, and then we see our girlfriend being kidnapped by these monsters, or mobsters. They're kind of monsters in their own way. So as far as movement's concerned, you control the cursor on the screen, and your character, represented by this wireframe outline, will move around based off of where the cursor is on the screen. If your character silhouette is in yellow, you're safe. If it's in red, then there's an enemy that has the ability to fire at you. So, and we can take up to 3 shots or 1 grenade shot, depending on what kind of enemies we're facing. As far as our ways to attack, so we have a regular shot that we can use to fire at the enemies. It's also possible to get a couple power-up weapons, a shotgun, as well as, maybe we get a shotgun here, yep we did get a shotgun here, as well as a machine gun, which is basically just a Tommy gun. So as far as the power-ups are concerned in this game, they're either in the environment or the enemies that wear red, we can potentially get power-ups from them as well. So keep that in mind. It is possible to hide behind obstacles in the stage, like this car here, to avoid taking enemy fire, but you do have to be careful when moving out of cover, as you can potentially get sniped out pretty easily. So one of the big differences between the international version and the Japanese version is in the top left you see the number of enemies we have remaining before we encounter the boss, in this case 6. In the international version, which I'll put up a screenshot of right here, we have this life bar at the bottom of the screen, and that life bar tells us how many enemies are left. It's not very accurate and it's kind of hard to read, so I do appreciate the Japanese version for that alone, if nothing else. Once we defeat all those enemies, we'll summon the boss, and one thing that's interesting is if you happen to be at a further point in the stage, one thing that it does is it moves your cursor automatically, I'm not pressing anything right now, back to where that boss spawns. In this case, this pinstripe individual suited here at the front of the screen is our boss. So the grenades that the enemies throw at us and that we can throw at them deal 20 bullets worth of damage, and for a boss like him that I believe takes 40 shots, a couple of grenades is enough to take him out. Save your grenades for the bosses, and that will definitely make your life easier. So there's a creepy scene afterwards where I'm assuming we're interrogating him, trying to figure out where the enemy gang is moving next, and we move on to the next scene. So this is one that kind of confuses me. So now we're this silhouette somewhere over the Atlantic going and shooting at a distance at this mobster ship. I don't know if we're on another ship, presumably, but maybe we're just floating there. It's kind of like fun to think about. However, this stage doesn't have any cover that we can easily hide behind, so we're kind of at the mercy of dealing with these enemies. Now here's the other special weapon that we haven't seen yet, the machine gun. You have a certain number of bullets that fire quite rapidly. Lose enough, take enough hits, lose life, and that we can continue, and you can continue indefinitely all the way up to the final stage, which if you continue, you'll start at the beginning of the final stage, not at where you've lost your life. So you might have remembered the pinstripe suit guy in the first stage. He was in white. Now we have this one here that's in brown. So it's basically what we see is the bosses become regular mobs throughout the course of the gameplay. So we'll go and see that repeated where we see the bosses time and time again. So in the Arcade Archives system, it's possible to bind some certain controls and give yourself rapid fire. So right now we actually have a rapid fire, oh no, used up all the shots. We had a rapid fire shotgun for a moment, but if you turn on rapid fire for your main shot, you're firing about far faster than even the machine gun can fire. It does have the problem that your shots will raise up as you shoot, but it's kind of crazy just to watch. So this is our boss for our second stage. Oh no, I'm out of grenades. So quickly taken out there. So this is kind of what I'm saying by like the game itself has kind of a arcadey level difficulty, and it's not very easy to hide behind things. So let's get to the minus flavors and the plus flavors and go over what I like and don't like about the title. So one of the things that I don't like is just this game is a quarter eater. It really is going to eat up your quarters as you get further and further into the game, encounter bosses as regular enemies, and like that sort of general unfairness. Also, there's no sort of control to dodge, and although you can hide behind objects in certain stages, like this one right here, that's not always going to be present in most of the stages that we encounter. But on the plus flavors, though, I really like the way this game plays. So if you like light gun games and are interested in a feeling that's like that, but can easily be played with a controller, then this one is ideal. It does a good job of controlling that. We also have some really great designed backgrounds and just the whole era. I feel like they did an okay job of capturing just a little bit of that like Prohibition America mobster feel that they were likely going for. Then I just appreciate always the rather unique additions to the Arcade Archives that we always are seeing. Oh, there's another boss as a mob character. That's an interesting way to refer to this. We're taking out mobs, and the mobs are mobs. So I really do like what we see here in a title like this one being ported to modern systems, as this title did receive a port to consoles back in '89, but it was to the Master System. That port, by all reports, that port was a downgrade from the arcade version. So overall, if you're looking for a unique light shooter feel, then you don't mind it being a little bit on the unfair side, then I'd recommend giving Lead Angle, or Dead Angle if you like the international name, a try, as I feel that it's a title that would be worth your time to put in. Alright, I'll just about wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining us this week. I hope you have a wonderful week yourself, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.